The message came through every communication channel in the galaxy at the same time. It was marked as the highest level of emergency, the kind that had only been used 3 times in the last 1,000 years. Every species, every planet, every ship received the same warning. A new virus had appeared. It was killing everything it touched. Ambassador Tavine of the Galactic species was the one who brought the news to the humans. She had traveled for 6 days through hyperspace to reach the diplomatic station where Earth kept its representatives. Her hands were shaking when she walked into the meeting room. Her large silver eyes were filled with fear. Commander Lisa Grant was the head of security for the human delegation. She was a tall woman with short brown hair and a calm face. She had served in the Earth military for 15 years before taking this job. She had seen many things that would scare most people, but she had never seen an alien ambassador look so afraid. "Please sit down," Lisa said, gesturing to a chair. "Tell us what has happened." Tavine sat, but she could not stay still. Her 4-fingered hands kept moving, touching her face, her clothes, the table. It was a sign of extreme stress in her species. "The Zirathi plague," she said. "That is what we are calling it. It started on a mining colony in the Andromeda sector 3 months ago. At first, we thought it was contained. We were wrong. So very wrong." She pulled out a small device and placed it on the table. A holographic display appeared, showing a map of the galaxy. Red dots covered large portions of it. "Every red mark is a confirmed outbreak," Tavine explained. "The Fenari have lost 2 billion people. 2 billion. In 3 weeks. The Vox have sealed their entire home system. No ships in or out. The Kalathi Council has ordered all citizens to remain in their homes." Lisa studied the map. The red dots were spreading along the major trade routes. That made sense. Viruses traveled with people, and people traveled through trade. "What is the mortality rate?" asked Dr. Kevin Moore. He was the station's chief medical officer, a quiet man with gray hair and kind eyes. He had been listening carefully to everything the ambassador said. Tavine's voice dropped to almost a whisper. 93%. The room went silent. Lisa felt her stomach tighten. 93%. That meant out of every 100 people who got sick, 93 would die. "How does it spread?" Kevin asked. "Airborne. Contact. Possibly through water as well. We are still studying it. But it spreads fast. Very fast. Once it enters a population, there is no stopping it." Kevin nodded slowly. He was already thinking about quarantine procedures, medical supplies, emergency protocols. His mind was racing through everything he knew about disease control. "Ambassador," Lisa said carefully, "we appreciate you coming here to warn us. But I need to ask, why did you come personally? Surely a transmission would have been faster." Tavine looked at her with those large silver eyes. "Because I needed to see your faces when I told you. I needed you to understand how serious this is. Your species is young. You have only been part of the galactic community for 50 years. You have no natural immunity to anything from outside your world. When this virus reaches Earth, and it will reach Earth, your people will die. All of them." Lisa kept her face calm, but inside she felt a cold wave of fear. She thought about her family back on Earth, her mother in Chicago, her brother and his children in Denver, everyone she had ever known. "What can we do?" she asked. "Seal your borders," Tavine said. "Stop all ships from entering your space. Cut off all contact with the rest of the galaxy. It is your only chance. And even then, it may not be enough." After the ambassador left, Lisa and Kevin sat in silence for a long moment. Finally, Kevin spoke. "I need to analyze the biological data she gave us. There might be something useful in there." "Do it fast," Lisa said. "I need to contact Earth Command." Kevin went to his medical lab and began working. He transferred the alien data to his computer systems and started running comparisons. The virus was complex, more complex than anything he had ever seen. But there was something familiar about its basic structure. Something he could not quite identify. He worked through the night. He drank 6 cups of coffee and forgot to eat dinner. His eyes grew tired, but he kept going. Somewhere in this data was the answer. He could feel a dot at 3 in the morning, station time. He found it. He stared at his screen for a full minute, not believing what he was seeing. Then he ran the comparison again. And again. And again. The result was the same every time. He grabbed his communicator and called Lisa. She answered on the second ring. Her voice tired but alert. "Lisa, you need to come to the medical lab right now." "What is it? What did you find?" Kevin paused. He did not know how to say it. It sounded crazy, even in his own head. "Just come? You need to see this for yourself." Lisa arrived 5 minutes later, still wearing the clothes she had slept in. Kevin was standing in front of a large display screen, his face showing an expression she had never seen before. It looked almost like he was trying not to laugh. "Kevin, what is going on? You look strange." He pointed at the screen. "Look at this. This is the structure of the Zirathi Plague, the virus that is killing billions of people across the galaxy." Lisa looked. She saw a complex molecular structure, all twisting shapes and connected points. It meant nothing to her. "Now look at this," Kevin said. He pressed a button and a second structure appeared next to the first. "This is a virus from Earth, one that humans have been dealing with for thousands of years." Lisa looked at both structures. Even with her limited medical knowledge, she could see they were similar. Very similar. "What is the Earth virus?" she asked. Kevin turned to face her. His expression was somewhere between disbelief and amusement. "It is a coronavirus. The same family of viruses that causes the common cold." Lisa blinked. "The common cold?" "The common cold. Lisa, this galaxy-killing plague, this virus that has wiped out billions of aliens, is basically a cold. A slightly different version of something that makes humans sneeze and feel tired for a few days." Lisa sat down slowly. Her mind was struggling to process what she was hearing. "Are you telling me," she said carefully, "that we might be immune?" Kevin shrugged. "I do not know for certain. We will not know until we are exposed. But based on what I am seeing here, there is a very good chance that this virus, the deadliest virus in the galaxy, will give humans nothing worse than a runny nose." Lisa started to laugh. She could not help it. The whole situation was absurd. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was dying, and humanity might survive it with nothing more than chicken soup and rest. The virus reached human space on a Tuesday. A Kalathi trading ship called the Silver Wind had been traveling through the outer regions of Earth's territory when 3 of its crew members became sick. By the time they reached the Mars orbital station, all 3 were dead. But the virus had already spread to 14 other crew members. Station Administrator Carlos Rivera received the alert at 6 in the morning. He was eating breakfast in his small apartment when his communicator started screaming. The sound was one he had never heard before. It meant biological emergency. He ran to the command center, still holding half a piece of toast. His staff was already there, looking at screens filled with red warning lights. "What do we have?" Carlos asked his assistant. A young woman named Deborah Flynn handed him a tablet. "The Kalathi trading vessel Silver Wind docked 4 hours ago. They have confirmed cases of the Zirathi plague on board. 3 dead, 14 infected. The virus has likely already spread to the station." Carlos felt his heart pound. The Mars orbital station had 40,000 human residents and about 12,000 aliens from various species. If the virus was as deadly as the report said, they could lose most of the alien population within days. "Lock down the station," he ordered. "No ships leave or arrive. Close all sections. I want everyone in isolation until we know what we are dealing with." The lockdown happened fast. Within 2 hours, every section of the station was sealed. Families were separated. Workers were trapped in their offices. The alien residents, who had heard the terrible stories from their home worlds, began to panic. In the medical bay, Dr. Nathan Price was working without rest. He was a young doctor, only 32 years old, but he had already seen more sickness in his career than most doctors see in a lifetime. Still, nothing had prepared him for this. The alien patients were dying fast. The Fanari crew members from the Silver Wind showed symptoms within hours of exposure: high fever, difficulty breathing, internal bleeding. One by one, their bodies failed. Nathan did everything he could, but nothing worked. "I am sorry," he told each one as they passed. "I am so sorry." By the end of the first day, 11 aliens had died. By the end of the second day, 27 more died, and then something strange started happening. The human patients were not dying. Nathan first noticed it when he checked on a dock worker named Greg Sullivan. Greg had been exposed to the virus when he helped unload cargo from the Silver Wind. Based on everything Nathan knew about the Zirathi plague, Greg should have been showing severe symptoms by now. Instead, Greg was complaining about a stuffy nose. "Doc, can I get some tissues?" Greg asked, sniffling. "And maybe some of that cold medicine?" "I feel like garbage." Nathan stared at him. "You feel like garbage?" "Yeah, tired, achy, like when you get a bad cold." "Is there any soup in the cafeteria?" "Hot soup always helps when I feel like this." Nathan checked Greg's vital signs. His temperature was slightly elevated. His throat was red and irritated. His lymph nodes were swollen. It was exactly what Nathan would expect from someone with a common cold. He ran to his computer and pulled up the records for all the human patients who had been exposed to the virus. There were over 200 of them by now. Every single one showed the same pattern: mild fever, sore throat, runny nose, fatigue, the symptoms of a cold. None of them were dying. Nathan called Carlos immediately. "Sir, I need you to come to the medical bay. You need to see this." Carlos arrived 20 minutes later, wearing a protective suit and mask. Nathan was waiting for him at the entrance. "What is it?" Carlos asked. "More deaths?" "No, sir. That is the thing. The humans are not dying." Carlos stopped walking. "What do you mean?" Nathan led him through the medical bay, pointing at patient after patient. Here was a woman reading a book, occasionally sneezing into a tissue. There was a man sleeping peacefully, his face flushed but his breathing steady. In the corner, a teenage boy was complaining to his mother that he was bored and wanted to go home. "Every human who has been exposed shows only mild symptoms," Nathan explained. "Nothing worse than what we would see with a seasonal cold. Some of them are already starting to feel better." Carlos looked around the room. He saw the human patients, uncomfortable but alive. And he saw the alien patients in the isolation section, where the medical staff was fighting a losing battle. "How is this possible?" he whispered. "I do not know yet. But whatever it is about human biology that makes us resistant to this virus, it is the most important medical discovery in history. We need to tell Earth, now." The news spread across the galaxy within hours. At first, nobody believed it. The Zirathi plague had killed billions. It had destroyed entire civilizations. The idea that any species could be immune seemed impossible, but the evidence was undeniable. On the Mars orbital station, the human recovery rate was 99%. The few deaths that occurred were among elderly patients with serious existing health problems. Everyone else got better within a week or two. The galactic news networks did not know how to report this. Their coverage alternated between hope and disbelief. "Humans immune to deadliest virus in history," announced one broadcast. Experts struggled to explain. On the Kolathi homeworld, people gathered around screens to watch footage from the Mars station. They saw human patients sitting up in their beds, eating soup, complaining about being bored. They saw doctors scratching their heads in confusion, and they saw the alien patients. The ones who did not recover. Ambassador Tavine watched the news in her office, tears running down her face. She thought about the warning she had given to Commander Lisa Grant. She had told the humans they would die. All of them. She had believed it completely. She had been wrong. She pressed her hands against her face and wept. Not from sadness, but from something she had not felt in months. Hope. On Earth, Dr. Patricia Bell held a press conference. She was the lead virologist at the Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta, and she had been studying the Zerati plague since the first data arrived from space. After extensive analysis, she said, standing before hundreds of reporters and holographic cameras, "We have confirmed that humans show a natural resistance to the Zerati plague. For most healthy adults, infection produces symptoms similar to what we call the common cold. We are recommending standard cold care protocols, including rest, fluids, and over-the-counter medications for symptom relief." A reporter raised her hand. "Dr. Bell, how can this be possible? This virus has killed billions of aliens." Patricia nodded. "We are still studying the exact mechanisms, but our preliminary findings suggest that human immune systems are uniquely equipped to fight this particular type of pathogen. Earth has a long history of coronavirus infections. Our bodies have evolved defenses against them." Another reporter spoke up. "What does this mean for the rest of the galaxy?" Patricia looked directly at the camera. "It means we have work to do. Human blood contains antibodies that might be adapted to help other species. We are beginning research immediately. Earth will do everything possible to help our galactic neighbors survive this crisis." Back on the Mars orbital station, Carlos Rivera sat in his office, staring out the window at the red planet below. The alien deaths had stopped. The quarantine measures and medical support from Earth had slowed the spread enough to save most of the remaining alien residents. But 38 had died before they could be helped. Carlos would remember their names for the rest of his life. A knock came at his door. It was Greg Sullivan, the dock worker, fully recovered and back to work. "Administrator? We just got a message from the Finari government. They want to know if Earth can send medical teams. They say humans might be the only ones who can help." Carlos turned from the window. For a moment, he felt the weight of everything that had happened pressing down on him. Then he straightened his shoulders. "Tell them yes," he said. "Tell them we are coming." The question everyone wanted answered was simple. Why were humans immune? Dr. Kevin Moore found himself at the center of the search for answers. After his initial discovery on the diplomatic station, he had been transferred to a new research facility on Luna. The best scientists from 14 different species had gathered there, working together to understand the strange gift that human biology had given to one small species from one small planet. The facility was called Unity Base. It was built in just 3 weeks, a record for any construction project in human history. The galaxy was dying, and there was no time to waste. Kevin stood in the main research lab, surrounded by alien scientists who looked at him like he was some kind of miracle. He did not feel like a miracle. He felt tired and confused, like everyone else. "Let me try to explain what we have learned so far," he said, pulling up a holographic display. "Human immune systems are different from most other species in the galaxy. Very different." Senior researcher Kethela, a Vox scientist with blue-gray skin and 3 eyes, leaned forward. She had lost her entire family to the plague. Her home planet was in ruins. But she was still here, still working, still hoping. Different how? She asked. Kevin pointed at the display, which showed a comparison of immune responses across dozens of species. Most species in the galaxy evolved on planets that were relatively stable. Their environments were calm. Their immune systems developed to handle specific threats and not much else. He pressed a button, and the display changed to show Earth. Specifically, it showed a timeline of the many ways Earth had tried to kill its inhabitants. Earth is not stable, Kevin continued. Earth is what we call a death world. Our planet has been through ice ages, volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, and constant climate changes. And that is just the big stuff. At the microscopic level, Earth is a war zone. He showed images of bacteria, viruses, parasites, and fungi. The alien scientists watched with growing horror. On Earth, pathogens evolve fast. Very fast. They mutate constantly, always finding new ways to infect hosts. To survive, human immune systems had to become extremely adaptable. We do not just fight specific threats. We fight everything. Our bodies are always ready for something new. Kathala studied the data with her 3 eyes. You are saying human immune systems are designed for chaos. Exactly. We evolved in chaos. Our immune responses are aggressive, flexible, and redundant. If one defense fails, we have backups. If those fail, we have more backups. Our bodies throw everything they have at any invader. A Fenari scientist named Telver raised his thin hand. But the Zirathi plague is unlike anything from your world. How can your immune system fight something it has never seen? Kevin smiled slightly. That is the interesting part. It turns out the Zirathi plague is not as alien as we thought. At its core, it is a coronavirus variant. Coronaviruses have existed on Earth for millions of years. They cause many diseases in humans, from mild colds to more serious illnesses. Our immune systems have been fighting them forever. He pulled up 2 molecular structures side by side. Look at this. On the left is the Zirathi plague. On the right is a common cold virus from Earth. See the similarities? The basic structure is almost identical. The alien scientists murmured among themselves. The structures were indeed very similar. When the Zirathi plague enters a human body, Kevin explained, our immune system recognizes it immediately. It sees the coronavirus shape and knows what to do. It attacks with antibodies and immune cells that have been refined over thousands of generations. The virus never has a chance. Kathala sat back in her chair. She was quiet for a long moment. Your planet sounds terrifying, she finally said. Kevin nodded. It is, but it made us strong. While the scientists worked on understanding human immunity, another effort was underway across Earth. Millions of humans were volunteering to donate blood, plasma, and anything else that might help. In a donation center in Kansas City, a young woman named Linda Park sat in a comfortable chair while a nurse drew her blood. A news crew was filming nearby, documenting the massive donation effort. Can you tell us why you decided to donate? The reporter asked. Linda shrugged. I had the virus last week. Felt like a bad cold. Stuffy nose, sore throat, slept a lot. After 3 days, I was fine. But I saw the news about what is happening on other planets. Billions of people dying from the same thing that gave me a runny nose. How could I not help? The reporter nodded. Are you worried about any risks from donating? Not really. I donate blood every few months anyway. This is just the same thing, but more important. If my blood can save lives on some planet I have never even heard of, then take as much as you need. Across Earth, scenes like this were happening everywhere. Donation centers were overwhelmed with volunteers. People waited in lines for hours, bringing food and blankets to share while they waited. Strangers became friends as they sat together, all united by the same purpose. The news cameras captured all of it. And across the galaxy, other species watched in amazement. "The humans are giving their own blood to save us," said a Kolathi news anchor, her voice filled with emotion. "They do not ask for payment. They do not ask for anything in return. They simply give." On the Vox homeworld, where 60% of the population had already died, survivors gathered around screens to watch footage of the human donation efforts. Many wept openly. "Why?" asked a Vox child looking up at her mother. "Why would they help us?" Her mother did not have an answer. Back at Unity Base, the research team made a breakthrough. Dr. Patricia Bell, who had traveled from Earth to join the effort, stood before the assembled scientists with barely contained excitement. "We have done it," she announced. "We have found a way to modify human antibodies so they can work in non-human bodies. It is not perfect. It will not save everyone, but it can reduce the mortality rate significantly." The room erupted in cheers and cries of relief. Alien scientists hugged each other. Some fell to their knees and wept. "How much can it reduce the mortality rate?" Kathela asked. Patricia checked her notes. "Based on our models, we can bring it down from 93% to approximately 12%. Maybe lower with further refinement." 12%. It was still terrible. It meant millions would still die. But it was so much better than 93%. It meant hope. It meant survival. "How quickly can we produce this treatment?" Astel single quotes, VAR. Patricia looked at Kevin. He cleared his throat. "Earth is already converting factories for production. We estimate we can begin large-scale manufacturing within 2 weeks. Distribution will be the challenge. We need to get the treatment to every infected world in the galaxy." "We will help," Kethela said immediately. "The Vox have fast ships. We will carry the treatment wherever it needs to go." "The Fenari will help as well," Talver added. "We have medical expertise. We can train others to administer the treatment." "The Kolathi will open our supply networks," said another scientist. "Whatever Earth produces, we will distribute." Patricia felt tears forming in her eyes. She blinked them away. "Then we have work to do," she said. "Let us get started." As the scientists returned to their work with renewed energy, Kevin stood by a window and looked out at Earth hanging in the black sky. The planet looked so small from here, so fragile, but it had produced something extraordinary. Not weapons, not technology, not power. Compassion. Kevin thought about all the humans donating their blood, all the scientists working without sleep, all the volunteers preparing to travel across the galaxy to help strangers they had never met. "We are such a young species," he thought. "We have so much to learn. But maybe we have something to teach as well." He turned back to his work. There was still so much to do. The first medical ship left Earth on a cold morning in November. Commander Lisa Grant stood on the bridge of the Hope's Dawn, watching the planet she called home grow smaller through the viewport. She had been promoted 3 times in the past 6 months. Now, she was in charge of the largest humanitarian mission in human history. The fleet behind her consisted of 247 ships. Some were military vessels converted for medical use. Some were cargo ships filled with supplies. Some were passenger transports carrying volunteer doctors, nurses, and aid workers. More than 50,000 humans had signed up to help. They came from every country on Earth. They left behind families, jobs, and comfortable lives. They went into the unknown to save people they had never met. "Commander," said her communications officer, Daniel Cruz, "we are receiving messages from the Fenari government. They are asking how soon we can arrive." Lisa looked at the navigation display. The Funari homeworld was 3 weeks away at maximum speed. Tell them we are coming as fast as we can. Ask them to send us information about their current medical situation so we can prepare." Daniel nodded and turned back to his console. Lisa watched him work. He was young, only 24 years old, fresh out of the academy. He had volunteered for this mission on the first day. "Why did you sign up?" she had asked him during their initial briefing. "My grandmother came to America as a refugee when she was a little girl," he had answered. People she had never met helped her family survive. "She always told me that when you have the chance to help someone, you take it. No questions asked." Lisa had liked that answer. In the crew quarters below, engineer Maria Ortiz was checking the medical supply inventory. The Hope's Dawn was carrying enough treatment doses for 2 million patients. It sounded like a lot. It was not nearly enough. "How are we looking?" asked Jake Cooper, one of the cargo specialists. Maria sighed. "We have everything on the manifest. But the Funari have 6 billion people on their homeworld alone. We are going to need a lot more than this." Jake nodded. "The factory ships are following behind us. They can produce more doses during the journey. And the Vox are sending their own supply ships to meet us." "I know. I just wish we could do more." Jake put a hand on her shoulder. "We are doing everything we can. That has to be enough." Maria wanted to believe him. She really did. The journey through hyperspace took 18 days. The crew worked constantly, preparing for what they would find. Medical teams ran drills. Supply officers organized distribution plans. Engineers kept the ships running at peak efficiency. When they finally emerged from hyperspace above the Funari homeworld, Lisa felt her breath catch in her throat. The planet was beautiful. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds swirling in the atmosphere. It looked peaceful from up here, but the communications channels told a different story. "Human vessel, Hope's Dawn. This is Funari Orbital Control. We are so grateful you are here. Please proceed to the following coordinates for docking. Medical personnel are waiting." Lisa directed the fleet to spread out and begin their assigned tasks. Some ships headed for the orbital stations. Others descended to the surface. The operation they had planned for months was now beginning. On the surface, the situation was worse than anyone had expected. Dr. Nathan Price had volunteered to lead one of the ground medical teams. He had treated alien patients on the Mars orbital station. He thought he was prepared for what he would see. He was wrong. The medical center in the city of Velthor had been built for 10,000 patients. It now held over 80,000. Funari families were crammed into every available space. The sick lay on the floors, on tables, on piles of blankets. The air smelled of fever and fear, and everywhere there was death. Nathan forced himself to focus. He could not save everyone, but he could save some. "Set up the treatment station here," he ordered his team. "Start with the most critical cases. We need to work fast." His team moved like a well-oiled machine. They had trained for this. They knew what to do. Within an hour, they were administering the modified human antibody treatment to patients. The first patient Nathan treated was a Funari child. She was maybe 5 years old, her silver skin pale, and her breathing shallow. Her mother sat beside her, holding her small hand and weeping. "What is her name?" Nathan asked, preparing the injection. "Kira," the mother said. "Her name is Kira. Please, save her, please." Nathan injected the treatment into Kira's arm. "The medicine needs time to work. Stay with her. Talk to her. Let her know she is loved." He moved on to the next patient. And the next. And the next. Hours passed. Nathan lost track of time. He stopped to eat only when his team forced him. He slept only when his hands started shaking too much to work. And slowly, miraculously, the tide began to turn. Patients who had been on the edge of death started to stabilize. Fevers dropped. Breathing became easier. The treatment was working. 3 days after treatment, little Kira opened her eyes. Nathan was there when it happened. He saw her blink, confused, and look around the crowded medical center. He saw her mother scream with joy and gather her daughter in her arms. "Thank you," the mother said to Nathan, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Nathan felt his own eyes fill with tears. He blinked them away and kept working. Across the planet, similar scenes were happening everywhere. Human medical teams worked alongside Fenari doctors and nurses, fighting back the plague one patient at a time. The death rate was dropping. Slowly at first, then faster. On the orbital station above, Commander Lisa Grant received updates every hour. She plotted them on a chart, watching the lines move in the right direction. "Commander," Daniel said, "we are receiving a transmission from the Fenari High Speaker. She wants to address the fleet." Lisa nodded. "Put it through." The holographic display flickered to life, showing an elderly Fenari woman with silver hair and kind eyes. She was the leader of 6 billion people, and she looked exhausted beyond words. "People of Earth," she said, her voice translator adding warmth to her words. "I do not have the language to express what your actions mean to us. When the plague came, we thought we were watching the end of our species. We prepared for extinction. We wrote our final words and sent them into the stars, hoping someone would remember us." She paused, gathering herself. "And then you came. You came with your ships and your medicine and your compassion. You asked nothing in return. You simply helped. The Fenari will tell stories of this day for as long as we exist as a people. Your kindness will never be forgotten." Lisa felt a lump in her throat. She turned to look at her crew and saw many of them wiping their eyes. "High Speaker," she said, "we are honored to help. Please let us know what else you need." The old Fenari woman smiled. "You have already given us something beyond price. You have given us hope." The transmission ended. The bridge was quiet for a long moment. Then Daniel spoke up. "Commander, we are receiving requests from 12 other planets. They are asking when we can come to help them." Lisa looked at the star chart, at all the red dots marking infected worlds. There were so many. Too many, that they had to try. "Plot courses," she ordered. "We will split the fleet. Every ship to a different world. We are not stopping until this plague is defeated." The crew responded with a chorus of, "Yes, Commander." Then they got back to work. In her quarters that night, Lisa allowed herself a moment of rest. She looked at a picture of her family back on Earth. Her mother, her brother, her nieces and nephews thought they were safe because of an accident of biology. Their immune systems could handle what others could not. It was not fair. It was not earned. It was simply luck. But maybe that was the point. Maybe the only thing you could do with luck like that was share it. Lisa closed her eyes and slept, dreaming of a galaxy without plague. 1 year after the first cases of the Zerathi plague appeared, the Galactic Council met for a special session. The Great Chamber had not been this full in centuries. Representatives from over 200 species filled the curved rows of seats, their various bodies and faces creating a tapestry of galactic diversity. Some breathed oxygen. Some breathed methane. Some did not breathe at all. But they had all come for the same reason. They had come to thank humanity. President Samuel Brooks of the United Earth Government stood at the central podium, looking out at the assembled representatives. He was a tall man with gray hair and a calm voice, a former teacher who had never expected to lead his species through a crisis like this. Behind him, a holographic display showed the current status of the plague. The red dots that had once covered the map were fading. The mortality rate had dropped from 93% to under 8%. The worst was over. "Honored representatives," Samuel began. 1 year ago, the galaxy faced extinction. A virus spread through our trade routes and our cities, killing billions of innocent people. Species that had existed for thousands of years came close to ending. Families were destroyed. Cultures were devastated. We all lost something in this terrible time. He paused, letting his words settle. But we also found something. We found each other. He gestured at the display. Earth did not defeat this plague alone. We could not have done it alone. The Vox sent their fastest ships to carry our medicine across the galaxy. The Fanari shared their medical expertise to help us develop better treatments. The Kolathi opened their supply networks to ensure no planet was left behind. Every species in this room contributed something. Every species made sacrifices. In the audience, Ambassador Tavine listened with tears in her eyes. She remembered the day she had warned the humans about the plague. She had told them they would all die. She had been so certain how wrong she had been. How wonderfully, impossibly wrong. Humanity is a young species, Samuel continued. We have only traveled among the stars for a short time. We have so much to learn from all of you. Your histories, your wisdom, your art and your science and your dreams. He stood straighter, his voice growing stronger. But we have also learned that we have something to offer in return. Not technology, not military power, something simpler and more important. The belief that when others are suffering, you help them. No questions asked. No payment required. You simply help because it is the right thing to do. He looked directly at the alien representatives. Earth is committing to a permanent galactic health initiative. We will share our biological research with any species that requests it. We will maintain medical stations throughout the galaxy, staffed by human volunteers. We will continue to donate blood and plasma and whatever else is needed to develop treatments for future threats. The chamber was completely silent. Every eye, every sensor, every attention was focused on the human leader. We ask nothing in return, Samuel said. We only ask for the chance to be good neighbors. The chance to prove that our species, young as we are, deserves a place in this great community of worlds. He stepped back from the podium. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the applause began. It started with the Fanari, who had lost so many and been saved by human medicine. They stood and clapped their thin hands together, making a sound like rain on leaves. Then the Vox joined, their deep voices creating a rumbling harmony. Then the Kolathi. Then species after species, hundreds of different beings, all rising to their feet and showing their appreciation in whatever way their bodies allowed. The sound was overwhelming. Samuel felt it wash over him like a wave. He blinked away tears and stood tall, accepting the gratitude on behalf of every human who had worked and sacrificed over the past year. After the ceremony, a reception was held in the diplomatic wing of the station. Leaders mingled, forming new relationships and strengthening old ones. Trade agreements were discussed. Cultural exchanges were proposed. Scientific collaborations were planned. Commander Lisa Grant stood near the refreshment table, wearing her dress uniform and feeling slightly out of place. She was a soldier, not a diplomat. She did not know how to make small talk with alien dignitaries. A familiar figure approached her. Ambassador Tavine, the Kolathi who had first warned humanity about the plague. Commander Grant, Tavine said, I have wanted to speak with you for some time. Lisa nodded. Ambassador, what can I do for you? Tavine was quiet for a moment. Her silver eyes seemed to look right through Lisa. I owe you an apology, she finally said. When I came to your station a year ago, I believed I was watching your species face its end. I thought I was delivering a death sentence. I prepared myself for the guilt of being the one who told you that you would all die. Lisa remembered that day. The fear in the ambassador's eyes. the terrible news she had carried across the stars. "You were trying to help us," Lisa said. "You came all that way to give us a chance to prepare." "That took courage." Tavine shook her head. "I did not think there was any chance at all. I thought you were doomed. I was wrong about that. I was wrong about so many things." She extended her four-fingered hand in the human gesture of friendship. Lisa had taught it to her months ago during a diplomatic meeting. "Thank you," Tavine said. "Thank you for proving me wrong. Thank you for being better than I thought possible." Lisa took her hand and shook it firmly. "We all proved each other wrong, Ambassador. That is how things get better." They stood together for a moment, two representatives of their species, connected by a handshake and a shared experience that had changed everything. Later that evening, Lisa found a quiet observation deck with a view of the stars. She stood alone, looking out at the galaxy that had nearly been destroyed. Footsteps approached behind her. She turned to see Daniel Cruz, her communications officer, walking toward her with 2 cups of coffee. "Thought you might want some," he said, offering one of the cups. Lisa took it gratefully. "Thanks, Daniel. How are you holding up?" He shrugged. "It has been a long year, but I would not trade it for anything." They stood together in comfortable silence, sipping their coffee and watching the stars. "You know what amazes me?" Daniel said eventually. "A year ago, most humans had never met an alien. Now we have friends on 100 different worlds. People send us messages of thanks from planets I cannot even pronounce. Kids on Earth are learning alien languages in school." Lisa nodded. "Everything changed." "We changed. For the better, I think." "I think so, too." In the distance, a ship emerged from hyperspace, its engines glowing bright against the darkness. Another transport, probably carrying supplies or medical personnel or volunteers. The work was not finished. It would never really be finished, but that was okay. That was what it meant to be part of something bigger than yourself. Lisa thought about the virus that had started it all. The deadliest virus in the galaxy. The one that had killed billions of aliens. The one that humans called a seasonal cold. It was strange how things worked out. A quirk of biology, an accident of evolution, had given humanity the chance to prove itself. And they had taken that chance with both hands, not because they were special, not because they were chosen, but because when someone needed help, you helped them. Simple as that. The future was uncertain. There would be other crises, other challenges, other moments when the galaxy would need someone to step forward. But Lisa was not worried. Whatever came next, humanity would face it the same way they had faced the plague, together with their new friends, with compassion and courage and stubborn determination, and maybe a little bit of chicken soup. She finished her coffee and headed back to her ship. There was still work to do, and she was ready to do it, because that was what humans did. The end.